You ever thought about going into politics?
Been asked to, but no.
Why not?
Because you have to do stuff like this. That's Labor's member for Cowan, Aly. Anne has a PhD. She's an international expert in Islamic extremism. She has written or contributed to more than a dozen publications on counter-terrorism. And she's an abatragic who's been reduced to this. The woman next to her is Tracy Roberts. Tracy's running for the seat of Pierce. As Mayor of the city of Wanneroo, she's responsible for the welfare of 210,000 people and oversees an annual budget of $200 million. Now she's doing this.
I reckon they've got some moves.
So do I, but it's a pretty unedifying spectacle, you'd have to admit that. And it's not even like there's a heap of votes in it. There's like 10 people there. Have a go at this guy. You just know he's gagging for Gangnam Style to come on. The things you do to get a vote. And that's not necessarily the most embarrassing thing that Anne's done just this month.
Yibbity yibbita. Doesn't get any better than that, folks.
At least they look like they're having a good time.
Better time than poor old Scott Morrison. Here's another reason being a politician has knobs on it. He does the right thing by taking a question from a young rooster at a political function in Western Sydney.
I just wanted to say hi. I'm pretty astounded as a young bloke here. Good to see you. Can I get a photo? Is that all right?
Yeah. Are you in the press pack, are you?
No.
Oh, right.
No, I'm a local, live up in the mountains. So, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
He calls him Scomo. Where's the respect?
That was the first alarm bell for Morrison. It's one thing in this kind of forum, but saying it to the Prime Minister's face?
One question, Scomo. Look, across if you don't mind, I'm just recording.
What's going on there? No, why is it recording?
The PM's been sucker punched one time too often with this.
Congratulations on being the worst Prime Minister we've ever had.
So he was off. And then it just fell to shit.
People lost their houses, and they were burned. You're a disgrace. You are a disgrace.
You want to know why I'm not a politician?
Why?
Because I would have thumped that dickhead.
And you can't sing or dance.
That's no barrier to entry. That's Scott Morrison. That's Bill Shorten. We all know that guy. How did nobody find that when he made his Taylor Swift comment?
Well done. Looks like he was having more fun then than he did today.
Well, he's now shitting himself anytime he fronts the cameras because he knows the journos smell blood and he's one wrong answer from being taken out the back and shot. 2 days after saying this...
I'm not Scott Morrison. I don't run away from press conferences, OK?
He did just that.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Okay.
And like that, he's gone.
He's making his press conferences shorter to decrease the likelihood of getting a curly one.
Would a coward do this? Bye!
If you can't take questions from a journo, how are you going to lead the country?
It can happen.
CNN is fake news. I don't take questions from CNN. John Roberts of Fox.
Albanese's entire political shtick is he's a man of conviction.
I like fighting Tories. That's what I do.
And now he's gun-shy.
Unlike our police minister.
The pro-gun lobby group is contacting Labor members to let them know gun owners would be urged to put Labor last on their ballots. That's an act of revenge on the ALP after WA Police Minister Paul Papalia revealed he was going to tighten this state's gun laws. Paul pointed out last month that there are a lot of guns in WA and he's not convinced some of them weren't going to fall into the hands of criminals. That has annoyed National Shooting Council National Secretary Neil Jenkins, who sent a warning note to sitting and prospective MPs. This is to advise you that the National Shooting Council has decided to recommend that shooters in WA vote against Labor, which obviously affects you, he said. It is our request that you put as much pressure on Minister Papalia as you can to come into line on firearms. Papalia reckons the NSC is like the NRA. They of the I'll give you my gun when you can pry it
from my cold, dead hands
way of thinking. The letter comes as the Liberal Democrats said their federal election team will be led by a West Australian woman named Kate Fantinel. Fantinel, who is known as Lady Liberty because of her distrust of big government, learnt the political trade from former Senator for South Australia David Lionhelm, a bloke best known for negotiating a sunset clause on the ban on the Adler lever-action shotgun.
You maniac!
But who is also known for telling people to f*** off. In 2018, he told Green Senator Sarah Hanson-Young to f*** off and stop shagging men.
Chivalry's dead, sugar.
During the 2016 federal election, he told the ABC's Chaser team to f*** off.
We've made you your own campaign van by putting your name in the slogans.
Are you familiar with the term f*** off?
And a short time later told commentator and activist Melinda Tankard-Reist to shut the f*** up, although he used the acronym STFU.
Wow, he's a real gentleman.
Yeah. The Liberal Democrat Bible is the Freedom Manifesto, a document written for fentanyl by people on fentanyl. Fentanyl reckons it's a blueprint to save Western Australia.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover.
You can when the cover is the Eureka Stockade. Pretty sure this guy's one of their policy advisors. The Liberal Democrats are worried legitimate gun owners are going to get caught up in the government's firearms crackdown. They reckon Papalia is a cynical grandstander who's over-egging the danger for political gain.
Is he?
Look, I don't like the idea of 300,000 guns out there because after 20 years of crime reporting, I know most illegal guns were at some point legal guns until they were stolen. And I know that many gun deaths involve someone killing their family and then usually themselves with a legal firearm that has been stored correctly. But there was something a little grandstandy at that press conference last month.
It's more difficult to get a skipper's licence in Western Australia than a gun licence.
The star of that show was a ferocious-looking .50 calibre rifle. The implication being that this thing was one of the guns out there on the street.
I don't consider that that type of weapon should be available for civilian and community use.
In actual fact, there are only 20 of this particular firearm in WA, and most of them are used here. That's Ella Valla Station near Carnarvon. It has the longest non-military firing range in Australia, 2.7 kilometres long. All completely legal. It's a tourism business. People come from all over the world to shoot the .50 calibre rifles there because they're the biggest guns in the world that are commercially available. The ABC did a story on it in 2019.
BMG is pretty much the largest commercially available rifle that you can buy, and it's unique.
All very open, all very legal. Now, it turns out the cops bought the gun used to scare us in that press conference a month before the press conference. Independent WA MP James Hayward got suspicious when he saw the news bulletin and started asking some questions. The cops bought the gun on February 24. The press conference was held on March 25. Your tax dollars hard at work.
A lot of tax dollars in Metronet too.
Oh, we've lost the Perth Skyworks and now we're losing the old Bayswater Bridge. What's the Bell Tower Times going to do for content now? Transport Minister Rita Saffioti has announced that a 24-day shutdown of the Midland line is needed so people can work on the new Bayswater station. Let's hope they use their spell checker before they make the new station signs.
That's disappointing.
Not as disappointing as Mark McGowan's COVID press conference. All we wanted to hear about was this. But we got this.
But the other restrictions, the mask wearing and the like, we'll consider those over coming weeks.
There are new rules about who has to isolate.
We can now take this next step. So I can announce that as of 12:01 a.m. tomorrow, that's midnight tonight, Thursday the 14th of April, Western Australia will move to the national definition of close contacts.
Close contacts are now limited to family members and intimate partners. Wouldn't Scomo and Albo like to limit their close contacts at the moment?
You are a disgrace!
I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.